But no, I lost my train of thought.
Chilling out with the crew in the
Chapter House. Presets Hatterack.
never looking too hard. Well, back at class, they never taught us this. Some things you gotta learn, hit or miss.
Talaxu. Matres.
We'll take them on together. Right now, let's go!
Dune.
Generation
Dune became the 4Kids opening series. Hey, Ben. It
Hey.
came early this year. It's words about Dune. You felt the Dune in your
I
jeans.
have felt the Dune.
You-
I got a bag of adult gummies and went on my own spice
Adult
agony.
gummies?
I mean, not for
Okay.
children gummies, I guess.
So they've got a little bit of
The spice, melange, yes.
the devil's salad.
Oh, yeah.
So Ben, it came early this year because
It did.
we had to cover the movie, and the movie was like, oh, I'm gonna come out in March for some reason instead of over the summer. So here we are. Words about Dune for the
Yep.
5th year in a row, Ben.
For the 5th year in a row, and perhaps
We're
the final.
almost at the end.
Yeah.
Heretics of Dune, Ben.
Yep. This is where it gets weird.
Yeah, it wasn't weird when a boy became a worm boy, and then
This is where it
became a
gets
big,
sexually
fat
weird.
Yeah, it sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like Frank Herbert was like, I haven't pushed that boundary hard enough. People don't realize what a weird sex pervert I am in my writing. So I gotta have I've gotta describe it like an alien who's seen sex before, and then I've gotta sex fight.
Yeah, it's not
Sex
good. I mean, it's
No,
not
it's-
like
it
it's
really
not like
isn't.
it's not sexy.
It's not erotic.
No.
It's like it's described in a
Uncomfortable?
very dry, boring way in all of its uncomfortable glory. You're like, "Oh, please stop, Frank. Please, when the lady had an orgasm watching Duncan climb a cliff last time? It's
Oh, that's
worse
got
than
that's
that.
that's fucking
that was
wholesome.
that was yeah.
That was one lady having one orgasm for her own enjoyment. I got no problem with that.
Oh yeah, speaking
no.
of, I am going to drop the recap as always of God Emperor of
Oh,
Dune
good.
right here. Bam. Ben. Important question here. I'm going to focus on your face and ask, would you like me to impregnate you?
Oh, I didn't think it was going to happen like this, but no.
That's okay, I already changed my mind anyway.
We're talking about God Emperor of Dune. This story picks up 3,500 years, a bit of a time skip. The only thing I can do is try to encourage you to look up a picture of the God Emperor of Dune, Leto.
Turn your
Atreides
Google
the
safe
second.
search on. Got little
Very
tiny
little
legs.
good. For the first part of the book, a bunch of people
Before you
are
do that.
running through a jungle from giant wolves.
Before you do that, Ben, I don't care about Fremen customs. Their culture has been eroded away and scattered to time, Ben. Their customs mean nothing to me. They pretend to do little fancy rituals now, but they're not even using real knives.
They are using fake knives. We'll talk about the Spirit Halloween Fremen. They are being chased by D-wolves.
The D stands for danger.
The rest of Dune is a terraformed, lush jungle now. They're running. This was their plan, by the way. They break in. I do
It's a
love how
brilliant
Duncan
plan.
later criticizes this plan. What would you have done? And he names like 5 things off the top of his head, and she's like, well, fuck you. He's like, so you knew the wolves were there? Yes. Did you bring anything to deal with the wolves? Of course not. Fiona is not a good commander. Well, unlike normal wolves that are, I guess, heavily scent and sound based, these wolves primarily rely on sight. The first guy gets taken down, the second guy gets taken down, but the third one is a lady.
That it is revealed that there were actually like 9 of them who broke in.
Siona's the idea man, okay? She's not the logistics guy.
Yeah, that guy was the first guy who died.
That actually was the first guy who died. She doesn't do a lot of thinking with her brain noodle. Siona will be the Atreides hero of this book. Though really Leto is the Atreides hero of this book, I would argue. But he's also the villain.
His body is ribbed for most of its length, which I thought, it's a weird way of
thought
putting
you were going
that.
to say for your pleasure.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, he's a giant. Let's just get it out of the way now. That's the Ixians, Ben. They built him a little cart.
Because that's another thing that happens a lot in this book, is somebody will be talking about one thing, and then the God Emperor is just going to talk about another thing, and they have no idea what's going on.
Well, he bans mentats, Ben.
A journal writing machine that communicates with him through brainwaves.
So the Ixians
This
are
has
doing
always
some
been-
shady shit.
And the God Emperor is kind of sponsoring them.
The God Emperor is rationing everyone's spice reserves. They're gonna narc on Leto's assassin, who's Duncan, Idaho. Yeah, they stole some of my texts. They probably already sent it to, like, everyone to translate. I need there to be some sort of unforeseen event.
You know, I find it very disconcerting when you keep mentioning how many times you have brought me back from death to serve you. Like, no one would want this.
I want it.
Why don't we ever talk about what I want to talk about, huh? Why is it always gotta be about you, Duncan?
Oh shit, he's got a gun in his hand. I was not paying attention to any of this. What's happening?
I'm going to fucking kill you. Zap.
And then he just rolls onto him like a Pikmin enemy.
Oh, my bones and organs.
A giant worm killing a man with the worm.
And you don't want to make Leto mad, because like what'll happen is like his human face will start twitching, and like his eyes will roll back in his head, and then like the human arms start twitching a lot, and then eventually the worm just goes ape shit.
His personal
Yeah, it's
assistant,
funny.
also an Atreides, named Moneo. He has all these signs when he takes over, and his daughter, which is Siona, is like, well, what do you do then? And he's like, I walk
run
away. I get up and I leave immediately. Top read, Ben. He's an agent.
Well, that comes up in the next dialogue.
Yeah, he's an agent of Moneo that's inside the rebellion, and pretty much everyone pegs him as a double agent, like, immediately. Alright, so first, I'm gonna have to climb a lot of stairs. Like, God, there's so many stairs here. This is clearly a test of my willpower, though,
But then it turns into an extended flashback of a previous conversation they had.
didn't we all know that you were immune to laser guns? I don't even know why he tried that.
He had a laser gun, Moneo. The eroded sculpture.
Hey, hold on, was this
canyons
Duncan
and
gonna
cliffs
f my daughter?
and galaxies has imprinted upon me that certain knowledge that I am a moat. Leto's army that he
Why are they
enforces
all
his-
women? Like, why are they all women? Like, why are they all like, bruh, chicks with weapons, bruh.
He calls them the fish speakers, and they are brutally efficient women who
Yeah, but they're
control
women.
everything. And he has a theory about all male military forces. He says that an all male military has a tendency towards homosexual behavior.
What? Are you trying to imply something, sir?
I think Duncan learns
I think
his
this
lesson.
is like the worst Duncan ever.
Duncan comes the closest to figuring out what the God Emperor is trying to teach everybody.
Yeah. and that is
Have you finished the book?
If you put me in water, I will dissolve and split into a bunch of trout.
Every planet, no matter where you go, they are all the same environment. There's no technological development. There's no social progress. Nothing. Time is frozen in his empire. What they get in exchange, there is no war. There's no famine. There are no problems.
Yay, but there's also no Nintendo 64.
There's no...
Let's be fair here. If there was travel, where would I travel? I'd go to another fucking village that's exactly like mine.
I'll give you a PlayStation if every game is just a boring farming simulator. Keeps going in this stupid cycle of aristocracy, rebellion, democracy, aristocracy, rebellion.
Don't forget the Dew-mocracy, where you get to pick which flavor of Mountain Dew we're gonna get next.
But also not relevant, which is perfect for the God Emperor of Dune. I love what you're doing. And if we do not change, Leto has foreseen a future where we will be dead. If it were not for his golden path, humanity would already be extinct. He has taken the whole "why don't you smoke a whole carton of cigarettes" approach to peace. He's so bottled up that they explode. Your interruptions, and Nate, I'm beginning to wonder if you haven't been the God Emperor of this whole podcast.
Oh my.
He wants them to rebel against this. He wants them to hate this. He wants them to kill him. Don't let your people fall under the leadership of a hero.
Sorry, what was that? While you were talking, I was just thinking about something else. Duncan, Idaho, fucks a bunch of fish speakers. Are those fish speakers gonna get pregnant? And Leto's like, well, they didn't take any precautions. He's like,
Duncan, it's a matter of principle never to hurt your ego, but each one of them could tear your arms and legs off. The whole human species has kind of leveled up in terms of just its physicality.
they say that Duncan is the benchmark by which they measure all their progress.
Leto wants Duncan to like him. It's also a benchmark for the God Emperor. I don't know if Leto even realizes that.
It's not a test. I actually hate this religion and you and all your sisters. This sucks. This sucks and you suck.
Weird.
Did you know Chom still exists, Ben? Like, why no men? Why no men?
Okay,
like,
but
none?
This is my favorite Dune book.
So they have to go to On?
He's extra hard on the Bene Gesserit because he's a bad parent.
The Ixian embassy has been invaded by face dancers.
It would have been helpful if they had found that out like 30 minutes earlier.
I've got a brilliant plan that you can get in on, okay? What you're gonna do is you're gonna stand up on the road with your petition. You're gonna drop your robes to reveal multicolored Fremen robes.
Like where this is going.
And then,
robes, shit.
And then, underneath those robes, you're going to be wearing a lot of robes, by the way. It's going to be very hot. You're going to drop those robes, and they're going to be black robes that match Duncan's robes. And then you and like 100 or 200, just hundreds and hundreds of guys are going to all transform into Duncan, Idaho. And like, no one's going to know what to do. And, you know, you're gonna have laser guns that we know can't affect the God Emperor, but you're just gonna start blasting.
5 hours later, a Bene Gesserit messenger shows up just totally out of breath.
It secretes a little bit of spice.
It does.
It does.
And it's weird. It's just in addition to having a dumb plan, they also brought the wrong tools for the second time.
What's their real plan, Ben? And does it involve blowing up a building?
Several.
Do they get the God Emperor? I'm betting money on no.
No, he lives underground. The new
Queenery
ambassador.
What's Queenery's deal, Ben?
Damn, I was gonna ask you.
She's an Ixian. She's a girl. She's a female. She's got lady parts. She's got a feminine manner. She's got a gentle girlishness to her.
I thought you were gonna say vagina. He is a woman. Hold your applause. Equally stupidly named Malky. The God Emperor's journals are stored in an Ixian device, a chamber, that is totally blocked to the universe. It's basically a pocket dimension. Who, from the age of like 10, has never been able to even touch another human. His skin is literally not even his skin.
Wah, that's all I hear, Ben.
So their first attempt was Malky, a friend. I think Malky genuinely liked the God Emperor. He had to. He was programmed to. I'll give you a spoiler. They call them no rooms.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet. We don't
But that's
know that yet. It's a little Dune humor for you, Ben.
A best friend weakens leader. But you know
Boobs.
what would cripple him? A lover.
And that's why it's so
there's-
weird that women are all up in our army, Ben. We gotta take the army
Yeah.
back.
Why can't a woman just be more like a man?
Are you calling Duncan gay? Because he will flip his fucking shit out and throw a tantrum if you even imply that, Ben.
Well, he is a giant, disgusting worm.
Who won't shut the fuck up? Yeah.
Yeah, he's... Oh, God, he is like the ultimate incel. This, Leto even realizes what's happening.
But
he...
he's powerless to stop it. Get some of that
Who-
ivermectin.
There must be some good reason for him to be doing this. She can fix him.
She has to be
Before
quizzed.
we do this.
There's an exam
Before
coming
we
up.
do this.
I have to
There
keep
is an
telling you about the
exam.
test. I'm foreshadowing the test, Ben. I have to keep telling you about the test, Ben.
Just thirsty for Cyanok. What could it be? So I'm going to explain it to you using an unrelated quote-unquote story about Charles Manson. And then Leto says, and this is my good friend Duncan. And then they all give him the same sort of attention. The second mistake is he tells all the fish speakers that they are his only brides.
And
They
then
are
he's
first
like-
before him, of all people.
You're my only brides, and also we, who, by the way, were engaged. Bye.
Yeah.
All part of the plan. He's gotta keep pushing the boundaries until someone kills him. It's all part of the plan, Ben. As reward, I'm gonna give you a little more spice, and I'm not gonna upgrade your room. You still have to stay in the gross slum that I put you in. That's where you belong anyway.
He does not up their spice. His brain is becoming a series of ganglia throughout his body.
Yeah, I'm not gonna join your group. I will take a hot bride who can challenge me intellectually. Maybe they should
just call
try
that
the
one
laser
evil.
guns again. Like, I'm feeling
call
like
that
third
one
time's the
inside.
charm. Vehicles drawn by six-legged animals which he guessed were horses.
He's got some outdated ideas. There's another part where he says people will grow out of homosexuality if you let it go.
Yeah.
That's also the
So,
names.
let's see. He asks her if Malky ever discussed the practice of takoyaki, the delicious fried
Takoyaki. It is
delicious
not called
fried
takoyaki.
octopus.
So basically, he tells Hui, Ixian sent you. Do you know why they sent you? And she's like, she suspects that they sent her to, hurt him somehow. Hui sucks.
What? She's a
the first
gentle,
two-
caring soul, and by God, that Duncan, though. Am I right? Look, you've had 3,500 years to have the Ixians come up with some sort of device to jerk you off, okay? Quick,
It is weird that he
get
says
the
he can
Talaxer to
experience.
clone me a gurney. The
So-
one person you could sleep with and hurt me is gonna be Duncan, Idaho. So, like, don't do that. Yeah,
You used to hate my douche philosophy stuff.
yeah, Ben.
I think you've even come around on that. You have awakened.
It's called the Dune Agony, Ben.
So she agrees to marry him
Yeah.
because she
And she agrees
she
to
wants to
totally
know.
never sleep with Duncan, right? We can never do this again, but like just for one night, I'm already naked, so let's go.
Yeah, I don't want to be the only man in this sea of women. What am I supposed to do with that? I am going to have an orgasm, which is a thing that people say. Marion, what now? And she's like, yeah, but you can't tell anybody. And the Bene Gesserit lady's like, okay, I guess I'll go die. Hui is sleeping in her embassy when the Tleilaxu just start. And like Batman, he jumps into a tube, throws on his battle cart, drives across town, and starts beating up street-level thugs with his giant worm body. Okay, you really want to do the test. Get to the test.
Yeah, I want to do the test, because keep talking about the test, Ben. There's a test.
So what's the test?
We're going to go out into the desert. The end.
Okay, easy enough. She rides him not in a sexy way. He will help her, but she will have to offer him something in return. Okay, well, you can die. She keeps talking. She's kind of dumb and annoying.
Yeah,
and she does not seal the mouth flap on her still suit. And Leto's like, yeah, it's because your mouth flap was open.
She's like, why didn't you tell me
should have
sooner?"
said so.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is not before he tells her to rest in his worm pouch. If you touch up on my face,
You want to
here,
jerk my face off?
It's pure spice essence.
Piece.
And she trips balls. She is the first human being who can really challenge him.
Siona
went into scheme mode.
What if lays guns a third time?
Oh my god.
Fucking brilliant.
No. Meanwhile, Duncan is sleeping with Hui Marie.
I literally do not give a shit about anything you have to say anymore.
Look, Mineo, you're gonna tell me where the God Emperor is, or I'm gonna have to get rough with you. Then I swing at you.
And then I just like step out of the way and let you trip and fall to the floor like a
You
fucking
step out of the
idiot.
way, you trip him, and then you like throw him a little so that he falls face first, ass up, on the linoleum floor.
I didn't want to say it because you've got such a fragile little baby boy ego, but like, I knew children that were like 3 who could kick your ass now.
Bottom lip quivers a little. And then he stomps down the hall. And they're going to send Siona and Duncan away. And she's like, hey, Duncan, you ever think about how much of a dick the God Emperor is? And Duncan's like, all day, every day. Mineo, I know you put in a lot of effort planning the wedding in the one city we have.
Oh, God. Oh, no. I planned all of it. Like, I'm your wedding planner. You can't do what I think you're about to do. Oh, my God. I've spent countless sleepless nights.
Mineo?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Mineo, I am moving the wedding to Tabor.
No!
I don't have any sexual habits, but I am petty as fuck. But Malky survived the attack from the Reverend Mother.
Oh, yeah.
He came back to say hi to the God Emperor, and the God Emperor was like, Mineo, I can't even bring myself to kill them. Won't somebody rid me of this troublesome Malky?
Yeah.
And then Mineo karate chops him in the throat, and he dies.
Zap! And she cuts the bridge down with her laser gun, and everyone falls down. First, Queenery falls, then Mineo falls, and Duncan's like, yes, I finally understand. And Siona's like, whatever, fuck you, Dad.
I'm dying. Am I still alive? Oh, yeah, no, I'm still alive. Okay. I left the notes on a floppy disk, and it's in my attic, and one day my son will find it, and he will team up with the world's most unimpressive fiction writer. And they will finally write the end to what is one of the greatest sci-fi epics of all time. And it will be deeply unsatisfying. And that is my final revenge on you motherfuckers. Good, because I was just about to say, you know, if you haven't listened to the other ones, we're jumping right into Heretics of Dune. This has nothing to do with the movie that's coming out, other than that it's in the same universe and written by Frank Herbert.
This is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years later.
If you have only seen the movies, this isn't where you go next.
You have no idea who any of these characters are or what they're doing because
Yep.
Paul long died. He died thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
His son died about 3,500 years ago after becoming a worm monster.
And living.
I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
His son died 5,000 years ago after living for 3,500 years as a worm monster.
Perfect.
Yes.
So Paul's been dead for like nearly over 8,000 years.
Let's say Paul was born like let's say we in the present 2024. How far back would we have to go to be on a similar timeline? And I think
Babylon?
you're actually starting to look at Babylon. Yeah. So
yeah, if you were born in ancient Babylon and then you got preserved and you just got unearthed, that's how it is if you jumped from the first book to here or from the movie to here.
yeah, I
You
can't
got flying
emphasize.
cars now, man.
I cannot emphasize enough how much this is not going to work if you have not read the Dune books or you have not at least listened to the other episodes about Dune. Because we're going to jump right into it. You had your recap, I guess. And now, here we go. We're going back to about the author.
Oh, God. Well, that's good because I wanted to also do an about the author right at the end because, as always, Brian Herbert has just a great introduction, and I gotta say something. But you go first, man.
Okay. So the main thing I wanted to draw attention to with this book is that Heretics of Dune supposedly is the start of another Dune trilogy that would go unfinished. I know it has been finished by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, but let's just agree to say...
He's got his father's genetic memory, Ben. He found it in an attic.
He's got his father's genes. Specifically his hairline. I don't know if he got much else. Anyway.
But he has Kevin J. Anderson to help him, Ben.
He sure does. He sure does. So,
If
I've
you haven't
read...
listened to our episodes on the Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert Dunes, we don't care for them.
I called it Hunters... The title of it is Hunters of Dune is Disappointing. Hunters of Dune is the continuation of the mainline Dune series, and it sucks. If you like it, you like it. That's fine, but it sucks.
Maybe Sandworms redeems it, Ben.
It's not going to.
It's got a guy named Paulo.
Yeah, so did Hunters.
Okay, yeah, I assume that's Paul, but with that evil goatee from the Mirror Universe in Star Trek. It's that.
Paulo is, I believe, the version of Paul they created to restore Baron Harkonnen's memories or something. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
right.
We're not here to talk about that monstrosity.
No, we're here to talk about what will happen just prior to that.
Yeah, so I guess what I wanted to call attention to with this one for about the author is published in 1984. Frank Herbert's wife of 20-some years died in 1984. She was...
Was it because she watched the Dune movie?
Oh, yeah, that also came out in 1984.
Yeah.
That's another factor here.
She watched it and then just...
No, I think she had a long struggle with cancer, I want to say.
Yeah, Ben. All right, you know what? I'm jumping in, all right? Because Brian Herbert talks about that. And she beat cancer, but the radiation damaged her heart. And first of all, I want to say, obviously, sorry that your mom got cancer. I don't wish that on anyone except for one person I can think of off the top of my head where I would root for the cancer, but that's not the point of this. It's not your mom, Brian. Sorry that happened.
People
but
are going to think you
your...
meant Brian or somebody
No,
involved
not
in
Brian.
this conversation.
Nothing to do with words about books itself. Anyway, going back to this, where he's like, Frank pushed himself to almost financial ruin by buying a 5-acre piece of paradise in Hawaii right on the fucking beach and custom building a house with a swimming pool. And then when her medical condition worsened, they just went back to their second house. Like, fuck you, Brian.
Not just anyone would make that sacrifice for their spouse.
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
just anyone would
you.
move to a beach house in Hawaii to help their spouse convalesce.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't like a financially great thing or anything, but like, people go bankrupt because of our healthcare system. Your dad wasn't one of them. Your dad sounds like if he's got 2 houses and one of them is a 5-acre palatial estate with a fucking swimming pool, I think he was doing just fine.
In Hawaii.
In
famous
Hawaii.
for its vast tracts of inexpensive land.
yeah, really.
Ay, Dios mío. Yeah. So Beverly died, and that obviously had to affect him. She did read most of his stuff. She gave him a lot of like suggestions. Famously, I think the Lady Jessica was supposed to be based on her. And
no one cares about Chome, Frank.
She couldn't talk about a Chome. That was where he drew the line in the sand.
The sand that is right outside of his
he's like, people are going to want to know.
Luxurious mansion.
People are going to want to know what Chome was up to all these years. People are going to wonder, you know how like I mentioned it is relative to Babylon to us. Like, you know how like the Babylon stock market persisted for 5,000 years? People are going to want to know
that.
Yeah.
Did my investment that my greatest ancestors made, has that paid off? How many pounds of pongi rice do I now own? Because they're wise investments.
Well, that depends. Was it really about the pongi rice?
Oh.
Or were you buying the pongi rice to trade for something else? Drugs, perhaps? As that is like the main thing we do in Dune. I'm not talking about Dune yet, though. I'm talking about real people. So,
all right.
That probably affected Frank Herbert. Also, Dune the movie comes out. Dune the movie, box office bomb. One of the worst movies ever made. God, is it terrible. We have a commentary track. We don't do that very often. But we did a riff tracks just for that. So, he's got money now, and Dune is famous. At the very least, everyone's heard of it.
Fuck you levels of money.
Yes.
He's got I can buy a goddamn mansion on a 5-acre plot of land in Hawaii right on the goddamn ocean levels of money.
I just want you to know
this was
the way you feel now
19...
is how I feel when you talk about your fourth bedroom.
This was the 1980s, I guess, and like back then you could buy like 5 acres of Hawaii with like change in your pocket and maybe sell some refrigerator parts, you know.
Honestly, it was a sacrifice to buy the land. Like just inking that deal, the amount of effort he had to go through, and he just got rid of it after she was gone because he didn't need it. That was just for her. Frank Herbert got nothing out of that.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Frank Herbert would also remarry in 1985 to...
He was fucking fast. He's 1 year later.
I don't want to judge. I don't want to speculate. I will say one of the vibes I get from Frank Herbert that maybe softens that a little bit is I don't think the guy really did well alone. He had been married basically since he was like 21. Not always to Beverly. He had a wife before her, and he had a child before her. But yeah, so obviously big changes in the way Dune is written. We have come a long way since the original book. And Frank Herbert, he's kind of like in a position where he can do whatever he wants. I think Dune, the books at least, at this point, are popular enough that they're
Probably
at least going to get
at least
published.
one senator. Yeah.
I don't think he owned a senator. You could buy, they cost more than a 5-acre estate in Hawaii, unless you're going to give them the 5-acre estate.
There you go.
Which I'm not going to. So Dune's going to get a little different, is what I'm saying. These next two books, Heretics of Dune and Chapter House Dune, each of them, one much more explicitly than the other, start flirting with some things that I don't know if I can get behind. And I'd like to give Frank Herbert the benefit of the doubt and say that he's introducing topics specifically to show that they are bad, but I don't actually think he is. And this will double as a content warning. Some of those topics involve, we'll say, basically sexual violence. We'll say that. And that against children. We're not going to get explicit about that. We're not going to go into any details or anything, but it is going to be mentioned. And I think we have to discuss it. I think it's a big disservice in the Dune community that a lot of the coverage of these books glosses over that part, because it's not like it was like, oh, it was of its time. It was 1984. That was never acceptable. So, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that. So just be aware that's coming. And if that's something you don't want to hear, well, definitely don't read these books, and I'll catch you next time.
All right. It still counts as a listen because of how far along we are into this episode.
I'll try to give a warning when it's coming. If anybody wants to, like, tune out, maybe we can tell them when to skip ahead, but...
All right. We're jumping into Heretics of Dune. Skipping a walk 5 millennium later. And it starts out, Ben. I think this is the first book. No, wait, never mind. Children of Dune had some places that, some chapters that took place off of Dune. Never mind. But this one takes place often off of Dune. I would say most of the book is not on Dune.
Dune is old news. Like I said, I do believe...
Arrakis.
I do. Yeah, oh God. Okay, right off the bat. So Frank Herbert tried to do a little linguistics here.
What happened is Vince McMahon came in, not the sex crime stuff. I have to talk about that right now, but no, Vince McMahon came in.
Sex
and did
crimes
what
are going to happen in both.
Well, yeah, but what Vince McMahon does is he cuts your name up. You know, there was a guy, Adrian Neville. They cut off his first name. He's just Neville now.
That was
Big
a
E
disgusting
Langston,
first
just
name,
Big E.
Yeah.
Some other guy, he's just Connor now. Like Vince McMahon just was like, all right, you only got one name now, just like real people, and that's what he did. That's what Frank Herbert did to his books. He's like, Arrakis, nah, Rakis, perfect. Getty Prime, nah. Getty. No. That's too simple. We'll keep the G. We'll call it Gamu. Perfect. All right. What else?
Caladan. That's Dan.
Dan.
Yeah. So I think somebody told Frank Herbert that words tend to become more simplified as languages evolve, and that's kind of true. There's more to it than that, but he just got the simple, like Like there's vowel transformation or mutations. There's umlaut phenomenon. There's a lot to linguistics.
There's
but
LOL and OMG. Frank, you didn't predict
he knows
that
about
one,
that
did you?
because he uses CHOAM as a word, and we all know that stands for the Combine On It Over Advancer Mercantiles.
I still don't know what it is, Ben.
Nor
Some
do
sort of
I.
marketplace.
I think I only know.
That's how CHOAM has managed to stick around through the thousands of years. No one knows what the fuck it is, so they just kind of leave it alone.
I tell you what, it's working for most large corporations. Actually, it's working for most middle managers in those corporations. Like, I read an article that said AI is coming for middle management, and I'm like, or hear me out. What if you just replaced it with nothing?
But
I don't
Ben,
even think
who
you'd
will
notice
manage the
difference.
managers while also just like being
Is this
the
like a
go-between
philosophical
between the
question? Like, who will
higher-ups?
watch the Watchers? Who cares?
Look, man. The executives don't want to have to talk to the disgusting underlings beneath them. All right?
Oh, here's a fun fact. You can just get rid of them, too. They don't do anything.
Ben, they took all the risk several decades ago or whatever when they started this, or when they
Did they?
got their dad's money.
But we're not here to talk about Elon Musk. We're here to talk about Dune. And yeah,
All right.
so everything's shorter. Arrakis is no longer the center of the galaxy. The Tleilaxu...
Chapter house planet.
Every time you interrupt me, I'm just going to stop and give you the space you need to elaborate on what you were talking about.
Chapter house planet, Ben.
Go on.
That's the new center of the universe, Ben.
Old and busted, new hotness.
Kind of. So the Tleilaxu have come up with a way to manufacture synthetic spice, shattering the guild's monopoly on space travel. Well, that didn't shatter the guild's monopoly on space travel. That shattered the
Monopoly
Arrakis
on
monopoly on spice.
Yeah.
What shattered the guild's monopoly on space travel was
Heretical fucking machines from those dirty Ixians, Ben.
Yes. So, Leto's golden path is well on its way to fruition. After Leto died, leaving no spice behind, only what everybody had already hoarded, he eventually split into sandworms that eventually split into spice that eventually produced enough for some space travel to resume. But in the meantime, the entire interplanetary ecosystem broke down. The trade, like food manufactured on planet A, sent to planet B, not anymore.
Well, at least we have
everybody's
all
got
the
to find their
food.
own food.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah. Well, one of them does. So yeah, there were famine times. There were wars. There was mass starvation, all kinds of human misery. Eventually, people decided, you know what? I don't care how heretical the Ixian machines are. I'm going to let a computer tell me where to go. And they took those computers and they just went
Wherever.
out there.
Yeah.
And they kept going. Humanity has now spread so far, nobody even knows where all of it is, and that was half the point. Is that humanity can basically never be destroyed by one enemy again. We're just too diverse. We're too spread out.
Yeah, take that.
Can't get all of us. In this climate, though, some of the individuals from the scattering, some of the disparate peoples that went out there are returning. And they're returning to the old imperial worlds.
Hey,
And the Bene Gesserit...
maybe we need to
who
build a
have
wall and make them pay for it.
Maybe. That's an option we can explore. I'll bring it up at the next CHOAM meeting. Just make sure you bring a lot of that pongy rice.
That pongy rice and whale fur.
Yeah. Especially the whale fur. The Bene Gesserit have become the de facto leaders of the galaxy. They were well positioned to seize on the chaos, and though I don't think they are just openly leading, they are pretty transparently leading. Chom is still around.
That's the
thank
problem,
God.
Ben. You need an emperor. We need to get a new emperor.
But the Bene Gesserit have their own military. They're not shy about using it. And they are a little concerned about some of these new arrivals from the scattering, because they're bringing with them all kinds of new technologies. They got no ships. They got weapons. They got sex ninjas. They got cat people. They got basically Frank Herbert was writing hentai before I think he knew that was a thing. So between the sex ninjas and the cat people, it is occurring to me now that maybe definitely this was a kink thing. Anyway, yeah. So the sex ninjas are called honored matres. I've looked up many pronunciations, and that is probably the best.
That's
and
what
the one
I
we're
call
going
them.
with.
Yeah.
Yes. And though they do not have spice, and they do not have the spice agony, which restores the ancestral memories, they are quite similar to the Bene Gesserit. They have
Except
many
they
of the same.
kind of suck.
Well, the Bene Gesserit kind of suck.
No, I mean, like, they kind of suck at not getting killed easily and outfoxed by their opponents. I'm
They're
5
very
chapters from the
arrogant.
end. Maybe they turn it around at the end, Ben.
No, not really.
Okay.
So the honored matres, whatever they were out in the scattering, they were these big badasses out there. They had all the Bene Gesserit fighting abilities. They have some kind of drug that, while not equivalent to the spice, does give them some kind of advantages.
It's orange, so you know it's evil.
Stop being so evil!
Yeah, their eyes turn orange, whereas the Bene Gesserit's eyes turn blue.
Yeah, and the Bene Gesserit, they have blue lightsabers, and the Honored Matre, they have red lightsabers, and they wear black, so you know that they're bad guys, Ben.
I mean, yeah, they all wear black, I guess.
They
Black
do.
goes with everything.
They do.
They also use sex, as I alluded to dominate and enslave. Yeah, they're going around and they're just taking over planet after planet by sheer force. They're used to being worshipped. They're used to being just completely unstoppable, and they're challenging the entire order. Meanwhile, the Bene Tleilax.
Yeah, Ben. I need to jump in here. Bene Tleilax, okay?
Yeah.
They've been playing the long game. So you know that last episode when I made fun of their dumb plan of changing a bunch of face dancers into Duncan, Idaho, and then rushing to try to get the God Emperor with weapons that they knew were ineffective? That was part of their plan to look like a bunch of idiots that are completely ineffectual. And remember when that dwarf in Dune Messiah just gets killed by Duncan? That was also part of their plan to look like idiots. And remember that time when I pushed down that Bene Tleilaxu master and I made him eat worms and call me Nate the Great? That was also part of their plan to look like fucking chumps. But really, Ben, they've been secret masterminds this whole time. It's a long game, Ben.
Nate, I'm going to tell you, almost every major power in the galaxy, the universe, I guess they span multiple galaxies, for most of these books, has kind of been so smart they're stupid. And, we're 5 books in, and yeah, they're dumb. I don't know what you want me to say. If your name isn't Duncan, Idaho, or blank Atreides, you're dumb. That's the rule.
But was that not his
like
whole point? The leader, Waff, was like,
Waff?
This has always been our plan, to make ourselves look like a bunch of idiots, and then, we'll get them in a few millennium. Just a few short millennium, we're gonna reveal ourselves as evil geniuses.
So, you remember back when we said that the Fremen were descended from Zensuni wanderers?
Yeah.
And I thought that was a silly combination of words.
Well, Frank
Well,
doubled down.
doubled down and tripled down. It turns out that the evil Tleilaxu, the godless geneticists, turns out they got more god than you ever imagined. And their god's big, and he's tough, and he will beat the hell out of your god. Because these guys are the source. They are straight up Zen Sunni mystics.
Yeah, I definitely never got that before, ever, at any point, and I feel like he just made it up. But yeah.
Did you get that they were weird elf creatures that looked like Garlic Jr. from Dragon Ball?
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of rice, they looked like Pilaf.
Oh my god. I was
Yeah, they're trying to get Pongi rice, and they all look like Pilaf.
Speaking of Double
It's
Down,
layers.
the KFC, they just released the Cheesa, which is a pizza, but with chicken instead of bread.
What?
Yeah, it's real, Ben.
Oh my god. What does that have to do with anything?
We said Double Down, and that's their sandwich that uses chicken instead of bread.
Okay, we'll put a KFC ad in there and let's
Sponsor
get that
us,
done with.
KFC.
Unironically, you could just pay us in KFC. I don't like that stupid nootropics juice or whatever it was. Oh, lordy. Okay, so they're mystics. They have a deep religion. And all of a sudden, now, they all look like little blue people with sharp teeth. They're described as elfin.
Yeah, does that mean Saital, who is also here, he was a face dancer before, but I guess now he's not. Is he also an elf guy?
That's my understanding.
Oh my god.
I don't know. So the Tleilaxu can genetically modify to be whatever they want. And they decided, Sigma male energy, this is the ultimate form.
Sigma male? What is...
Oh, okay, so like an alpha male, like leader of the pack, right?
Okay.
Sigma male, they go their own way. That's the lone wolf.
Except they're not, because they're... alright. How about Omega males, Ben? What's,
That's the natural next question. I don't think we've reached that point yet.
Oh my god.
But when we do, you know what? You might be onto something. It's probably going to look like one of these little blue guys. That's the Omega male right there. A lot of talking about their sperm.
Yeah.
You know, actually, it's all just starting to make sense. I really think the alpha male thing that becomes the Bene Tleilax eventually. Big incel energy. There's no women. They just took women and like turned them into vats. Like that's their ideal. Is like they don't have sex. They just because it's gross and beneath them.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't you get, having sex. You know what? If you're spending time having sex, you know what you're not doing? Making money. You gotta get back on that grind set. You gotta hit up the sperm extractor, get that sperm out of there. It's distracting you from the grind set. Then You can stick that in a tank, grow it into whatever you need, probably a shape-shifting face dancer, because you're going to need those. Obviously, everybody's going to need those. And, yeah, you can just get right back to it. Grind it out.
Yeah.
While everybody else is sleeping, they're grinding.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's
Omega male.
That's an Omega male right there.
Yeah. Hashtag goals.
So what else are we doing with the Ben H. Laylax, Ben? They're actually secretly super religious and not a bunch of idiots. That was all a ruse. And checkmate. They've got new face dancers, Ben. Face dancers that you can't discover until you can.
And perhaps more importantly, face dancers that can extract memories from dead people.
Yeah, they give you the bad touch right on your skull and grab it.
They also have formed a government based on the knowledge they gained from Saital that with the right application of trauma, we'll call it strategic trauma, remember that, you can restore a Gola's memories of its previous life. And so now the Council of Elders among the Bene Tleilax just live forever. They just grow themselves a new Gola.
And one of those is Saital, I guess.
Yeah. He grinded. He grinded hard enough that he moved from Sigma to Omega.
Okay. Hashtag goals.
But also, paradoxically, the face dancers are described as not having, like, individuality.
Yeah, you know how Saital had individuality and that wasn't at all the case? And I think he just made that up. And then I think Brian Herbert ran with that, so there's like this weird paradox where before and after Dune Messiah and God Emperor that's the case, but like not during.
Yeah. I Googled actually before we started this episode just to see if there was anything I was missing. Like if I had just completely not read something. And, or maybe even if Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson headcanoned their way out of this. No. Everybody's just guessing. Like, why was Saital still there? Maybe they made him a new body that was little and blue. He couldn't face dance anymore.
Yeah, why? Why would they even do that other than the fact that
peak male form?
I think Frank remembered, like, oh yeah, Saital. He's the only named Bene Tlaxu guy I can remember. I'll put him in there. Not realizing that, like, what? What?
Well, I think what he's trying to... I think he's now trying to say something he wasn't saying initially.
Yeah.
Which is that the Bene Gesserit are kind of the ultimate in female power. The Bene Tleilax are the ultimate in male power, and they both kind of do the same thing.
And the Ixians.
But they go about it different ways.
Yeah, I never got that at all. I never thought they were like, they're two sides of the same coin until literally this book.
Yeah, he's trying to make that a thing now.
Instead of back in Dune Messiah or any of the other books. Yeah.
Well, we don't have like an Atreides main character. We have a couple of Atreides descendants, but we don't, this book really doesn't have a Paul.
Duncan
Idaho is as close as it gets.
He's the most Atreides there is. And also Teague?
Miles Teague, yeah.
Miles Teague. Yeah, Ben. Also, the Ixians, after being the ones to come the closest to defeating the God Emperor, they're like the Bene Tlaxu's pawns, basically. Don't bother to think about them ever again, except in conversation, like on who's building the stuff. Forget them.
Yep. Yeah, the book mainly follows the Bene Gesserit and their schemes. Their scheme, currently, the driving plot of this book is to create a Duncan, Idaho Gola. They want to restore its memories. They updated the hardware because Frank Herbert remembered he wrote that thing about Duncan, Idaho having outdated reflexes and stuff. And so now they're updating the body. They're going to give him some stuff. And as a result, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to reawaken his memories. This is going to be a whole project. We can't just do the same thing we used to do.
Plus, they're doing a new technique for reawakening the memories.
Yeah, and that's going to involve some of that stuff I was warning you about at the beginning of the episode. But we're not going to talk about that just yet. But they're going to groom him. I guess we're going to talk about it. Okay, so are you editing this?
Yeah, Ben. And there's are we diving into that, or are we going to Arrakis?
Okay, let's go to Arrakis. So they're creating a Duncan,
It's
Idaho because they
Arrakis,
need...
Ben. Don't add the AR. You son of a bitch.
They're going to Dune. They already called it Dune. I don't know why they're calling it Arrakis. So they're creating a Duncan, Idaho because I guess they need Duncan, Idaho Ultimate Man.
A super hot man. Quite the attractive child, said one of the Bene Gesserit in like the first chapters.
We're not going into it yet.
Calm down. Calm down, Peter Kleins.
We're not going into it yet. So, Shiana is, I guess that's how I'd say
like
it, right?
Siona,
Shiana.
but different.
There is a girl who has surfaced on Arrakis who is able to command the sandworms. Now, keep in mind that these sandworms have a pearl of awareness from the God Emperor Leto Atreides himself. So there's some divine spark to these sandworms. And he predicted that one day there would be a person who could command the sandworms. And that was going to be important, vaguely. And she's here now. She can do that.
Yeah.
So the Bene
And
Gesserit
all
need
it
to get
cost her
control
was
of her.
her entire village and family to be eaten by a worm.
Well, they weren't doing anything anyway.
Yeah,
Biggest promotion she ever got.
Yeah, exactly. They were there to be eaten.
Yeah. She didn't even seem like that upset about it. Now, I know that's Frank Herbert not understanding human emotions, but...
I am upset at you, worm. And then the worm took her on a ride to Keen, which is Arakeen, but we shortened it.
Oh, Christ.
Bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I want to be clear. I like these books, but...
Word
it's
choice
tough
has
because...
never been Frank Herbert's strong suit.
No. He does not have a great mastery of language.
And in this
but I will
book,
say,
he will have people point out, wow, they have such weird names. That's all of you. You all have weird names. What are you talking about?
every single one of you. I swear that one guy was just named Garbage Can. No. It's like he just looked around his office and like put together two syllables from like some of the first two things he saw. Like, I like these books, but it's tough because he never finished it. So I don't know where he's going with this. And in my opinion, I believe they had the notes. I'm not here to open up that whole can of worms, but I don't think Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert delivered a particularly satisfying conclusion to this story, or even the conclusion that Frank Herbert would have come to on his own. Maybe they had his notes, but you know what? If that's what Frank Herbert was going to write, then I guess he deserves to be made fun of. I don't think it is what he was going to write. I think maybe he would have changed it during the writing. Maybe somebody would have talked to him and been like, this sucks. Why are you writing it like an action movie when this whole time you've been writing these books about sex ninjas like you're some kind of robot alien who can't comprehend what it is like to love another person? I don't know.
Is that a theme, Ben? Because there are two separate Bene Gesserit that keep talking about like love. Love will destroy us if we let it. We have to shut out the love. Is that a thing?
It's a theme. It's a major theme in Dune, unfortunately.
Is it?
It's weird. It's weird because I think the major theme of Dune is and you're going to laugh at me when I say this. The major theme of Dune is
human connections.
learning what it means to be human.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Maybe this is how Frank Herbert was trying to teach himself that.
Honestly, it could be. Frank Herbert is deeply interested in humanity, but like at a superorganism level. Like he's deeply interested in society. And he doesn't quite get that a society is made up of individuals and their relationships to one another. I mean, he gets it. He knows that's how it works. But that's just not the level he thinks on. He thinks on a systemic level, always. And so, like, he knows that when people are in love, they do unpredictable things.
They talk about how the sand is coarse and rough and how it gets everywhere. Go on.
But if I'm not saying Frank Herbert doesn't know what it is to love, I'm sure he loved his wives and his children. But I don't know if he like knew how other people felt. That's one thing that consistently comes up in Dune is I just don't think this guy processed emotion in the same way as everybody else. And I don't know what he's trying to say, because that's my struggle when the Bene Gesserit eventually start doing some stuff where like I really can't agree with that. There's not even the slightest hint that this is morally wrong, but at the same time, they are very careful about love. Like there's this constant war in Dune between people who do things for love and for human reasons, and people who are coldly calculated and logical. And I think where this was supposed to go is humanity needs to learn to embrace all of itself. The intelligence, the emotion, the religion, like I guess the intelligence, the emotional, the spiritual, everything that makes up our experience. We need to embrace it. We need to optimize. We need to just give it more. Like we need to create and spread and do more. And juxtaposed against that, the real villain of the piece is going to be a machine.
Yeah.
That
Kevin J.
cannot
Anderson.
be human.
He comes in there writing like a machine, Ben.
Unfortunately, the machines won. Yeah. Unfortunately, the machines got the whole story, took the role of writer away from humanity, and wrote an ending that, I tell you what, only Michael Bay himself could have done better. Cinematic, you see, like Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Because he makes movies.
You know how Michael Bay has the same scene over and over and over, just explaining what he's going to do? Like he's
I don't know. I've only ever seen one Michael Bay movie. Anyway. Yeah, I think that's where they were going. But yeah, do you want to talk about Shiana at all? Do you have anything you want to say about her before we... The book moves kind of slow. And so I'm not really giving the chapter by chapter analysis.
What?
There's a lot of... There's many different perspectives at this point, and there's no clear main character.
Mother Superior Teresa, which is like Teresa, I guess, but like different, Ben. She's over here. She's putting all the plans in place.
O'Drade, which we have to talk about.
Oh, I called her Odrade, but then the audiobook called her O'Drade.
Yes.
So that's weird, Ben.
O'Drade. She is what? Teg's daughter?
Teg's daughter. Yeah, who's Teg,
So
Ben?
she's an Atreides.
He was the most generalist general who ever generaled a general. But he was a Bashar, Ben.
I was waiting for it. I was like, but he wasn't a general. What is... Okay, this is the thing. I know Bashar is a rank. No idea what country.
I thought it was India or the Middle East.
Could be. It... Yeah, I mean, it sounds vaguely like that, but I don't know what... Bashar, let's just...
Oh, I typed it in and I got Glossary of Dune, Dune Wiki, Military Ranks Dune, Nigeria.
Yeah, because...
I can't.
Yeah, because my problem is, like, Bashar al-Assad, that's the Syrian guy that we didn't like, right?
Yeah.
We got him, right? Like, that was all worth it, right? We got him. We didn't just forget about it and start another war.
Yeah, we got him, right?
And,
Huh. There's a picture of him in 2022, but we got him, right? I don't see a death date here, Ben. Just a born date. I'm pretty sure it's a Middle Eastern name.
yeah, I'm seeing the glossary of Dune. That... Okay, he's a general.
Bashar, Iran. So yeah, I think it's a Middle Eastern thing.
Oh, do you think the Dune...
Yeah, I think what he did was he looked into the Middle East and was like, yeah, I'll take that.
It's... Okay, look, we know it's Arabic, Persian, or Hindi.
Yeah, there are surnames of people in
it's
Bangladesh.
Arabic, Persian, or Urdu, or something.
It's Turkish or Bangladeshi or Middle Eastern of some sort. But what it is, Ben, is it's like general, but like Frank Herbert was like, let's make it not that.
It's Admiral.
No, it's not.
He commands the Space Force.
Does he? It sounds like he was
Yeah.
on the front lines fighting hand to hand. Like a
Frank
man.
Herbert. The only thing Frank Herbert knows about war is how to dodge the draft, okay?
Ouch. Anyway, Ben, we gotta get Miles Teg, who is an Atreides. We gotta bring him out of retirement because he's the best general who ever generaled a general. And also, he looks just an awful lot like Leto the First. And by the way, Ben, someone finally mentions Leto the Second the First.
Oh, I totally missed it.
She said he should be Leto the Third. What of the Leto the Second who was killed in the whatever? It was Stylos or whatever. What? Okay, so there's a priesthood. Who cares about them? We'll bring them up. They suck. They're incompetent idiots, and they get almost immediately infiltrated by the Telaxu and the Bene Gesserit. Miles Teg. We're bringing him back. He's got a Batman. That's interesting. Apparently,
I knew you were gonna do a thing with that.
Apparently, Batman transcends time because he makes it out to the Dune universe, which is thousands and thousands and thousands of years out, and then he makes another 8,000. So it would be like if Babylon, not really. It would be like if like we found cave drawings of Batman and. So
okay, you obviously know by Batman he means a guy who holds a club.
No. He's a Batman. He dresses up as a bat and he scares criminals. All right. So Miles Teg is in charge of protecting this Duncan Gola because a bunch of them have been killed already. Every time we get to a certain point, Gets killed. Also, we're gonna...
Where's the spice going?
I swear to Shia Halud.
Swear to me!
So,
We're never not going to do it. I don't know. Put that on your words about bingo. Words about books bingo. There is a chance every episode we might just do the 2 lines I remember from The Dark Knight.
Oh, that one's from Batman Begins, Ben.
Oh, who the hell cares?
So, Schwagyu, which is like Wagyu beef
Okay, Shuang
and
Yu.
swag.
Shuang Yu. Her
like
name is
mine.
Shuang Yu.
I like Swagyu, okay. She's the Reverend Mother who wants to get rid of the Duncan Gola. She's in charge of him. She's against the Mother Superior. She's kind of an old dick, right? Fuck her. Hate her.
You know? Yes. Yeah, you're not supposed to like her. She's the bad guy.
Yeah. Fuck her.
Do you have more to say about Shuang Yu?
Yeah, every time I saw her name, I wanted to get a nice steak.
It sounds nothing like Wagyu.
Swagyu. You just take out that N, and you move around some letter, you get Swagyu.
Swagyu. So that's how you did this. Her name is Shuang Yu, and which I probably is not a real Chinese name, and you replace that. You got rid of the sh and made it a sw and made it Swag Yu.
Yum.
Okay, now your joke makes sense.
Thank you for explaining it, Ben.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, she's the worst, Ben.
She wants to kill Duncan. She doesn't think of him as a real child. She thinks of him as a weird monster clone, but he's not a clone.
Yeah, there's a difference. We don't know what it is. But there's a difference.
We don't know what it is. I don't think Frank Herbert knew what it was. There's a difference, though, between Golas and clones. I think Frank Herbert thought, I'm going to be real with you, the vibe I get is that he thought that a clone was just like a copy paste of a person. Like you just, person standing there, you send them through the cloning machine, and now you got 2 adult human beings.
Yeah, that's how it works.
It is not at all how it works. You gotta like hollow out an egg, and you gotta squirt some science magic into it, and then you get another genetically identical animal.
Oh my god,
that
Ben.
doesn't live nearly as long because we're not very good at it.
The spice market, it used to be like a cup of spice could buy you an entire planet. Several planets, Ben. And now, some spice can buy you a nice set of bricks. Yeah.
That's true.
That, really fell apart, huh?
That was the idea.
So,
But you'll be happy to know that demand has risen to meet the supply. Whole universe of drug addicts.
yay!
It's
I
just
guess-
like those
should I-
adult gummies I was taking.
Should I,
Like,
should
you know
I
how those
talk
used
about...
to be kind of hard to come by?
No, I don't know that, Ben.
Tell you what, they're cheaper in Maryland.
Nice. I could also just hop across the river and get some, Ben. I don't know why. Also, alright, so going to those priests that suck. The head priest is... His last name is Tuick?
Tuek, yeah.
Did he just... That's a name from one of the other books. It's like one of the water merchants or one of the pirates or whatever. Why?
Well, it's a local name.
Ben.
He's of the
Ben,
Arakeen
how many
2X.
people use Babylonian names? So yeah, she can command the worms, and the priests study her, and they
Not
study,
very well.
They study every
They
detail.
study-
Yeah, it's like
They study her by being like, I'm gonna put her in the middle of the desert and see what happens.
Oh,
Shit,
she's
she can
talking
talk
to
to
the
those worms.
yeah.
The thing I love about the
a child.
priests is the priests they're idiots.
Yeah.
They're comically stupid. And they're like, they put her out there, and the worm comes up, and she's like, okay, I'm going to die now. Well, you know what? Fuck you, worm. Middle finger to you. Oh, look, another worm. Middle finger to you. Come eat me. Come on. Get me, motherfuckers. And then she's just like making all these rude gestures at him. And the priests are sitting in their helicopter going like, she speaks with Shai Halud. She prays for our souls. And Shiana's like, look, if you don't have anything, if you're not going to eat me, then just get the fuck out of here. And the worms leave. And they're like, she commands the worm.
Yeah. And they also, they look into every little detail as if it's important. Like she's like, you know what? I changed my order today. I want a sausage McGriddle. And they're like, what could that mean? Why did she change her order? Why is she eating sausage instead of bacon today? Is this
we now
of religious
only eat
significance?
McGriddles on Thursdays.
Is it because
So saith the Lord.
maybe the old ways? You know, they think pancakes are one of the first things that you cooked over a campfire. Maybe she's channeling that ancient knowledge. She's so wise beyond her years. And it's like, nah, she just wants something else. Stop
Open
looking
your
into
mouth
it.
and fill it with that McSkillet.
I do like that there was a guy in the priesthood who's like, man, you know, her name is really similar to Siona, and then he's just given all these Siona facts, and the head priest is finally like, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, we all know about Siona guy. We're all head priests of the fucking Church of the Worm, okay?
No, he orders that guy to be
Well-
taken out into the desert and left to be eaten. He's like,
I
yep,
mean-
very cool. Hey, what's that over there? Go drive this guy out to the desert. Leave his ass.
Nate, if I had the ability to send someone out to the desert to be devoured by the worms, gonna be honest with you, I might not always use that responsibly.
Be abusing that left, right, and center.
Also, I think the very funny thing, this is obviously supposed to be something he's doing here, because isn't that the way of like all religious people? Like, they know all the little facts. Like, they know all the dates and the names and everything, but like, they don't know how to walk in the desert. They don't wear still suits. None of the spirit of their religion is there. They're just intellectualizing every facet of the story without ever like taking the broad meaning of Jesus being like, don't be an asshole.
Big breasts.
What could he have meant by
Big
that?
breasts in a woman and hard loins in a man. And then Frank had to put that tightly muscular look to the buttocks. Because I imagine no one had any idea what the fuck the hard loins in a man was.
I can guess. Or is it the
Apparently not. Apparently not. Ben, what the fuck are the black sling chairs that they sit in? Or the chair dogs they keep bringing up?
Okay, the chair dog is like disgusting.
They like breed a dog with a chair?
It's what it sounds like.
Why?
It's some sort of living
Why
chair
is
that conforms
how
to the
is
seat.
that more useful than a non-living chair? And why are they sitting in slings, which I imagine were like one-person hammocks, like literally slings suspended from the ceiling?
Let me ask you before I shout this out and just offend our entire audience. What is your opinion of gaming chairs? Do you own a gaming chair?
They're comfortable. I wouldn't spend $5,000 on one.
What is your aesthetic impression of gaming chairs? I will agree that they are comfortable, but like, how do you think they look?
I'm not an aesthetics guy, Ben.
When you see somebody sitting in a gaming chair, do you think that's a serious person?
I plead the fifth?
I bet that guy sitting in his toy race car seat I bet he's a man who thinks about finance and taxes, world peace. No, you don't, because they're hideous.
Sponsor us.
The chair dogs.
Secret Lab gaming chairs.
Don't sponsor us. I hate your. They're fun to sit in. They are comfortable. I'll give you that.
Vertigear.
They're hideous. I don't like the look. I'm sorry. I just like a chair to look like a chair. I'm a simple man.
Yeah, but what if the chair were alive, Ben? Then what?
My point is, the kind of person who would spend $5,000 on a chair is the kind of person who would breed a sentient creature capable of suffering for the sole purpose of sitting on it.
Jesus. So, all right.
Come at me.
Where are we even in the story? We've established the priesthood, the Talaxu, the Jesuit.
I don't know,
real
dude.
Quick,
this might be a three-parter.
Let me talk.
This is going to take years.
Let me talk about the honored mantra. We could do that.
I'm okay with it. If this is 3 parts, it's 3 parts. Because honest to God, no one should be listening to this unless they've read all the books. And if they read all the books, they know where we're coming from.
So let's talk about the first encounter with the honored matres, where I thought that they would be established as a dominant power and not like a screaming, crying, petulant baby, right?
Right.
So fucking God, Waffle. He meets with her, and he's got a secret weapon, Ben.
Is it pocket guns?
He's got really tiny dart guns on his wrist.
And my favorite part is when he says, like, he's been practicing with them for years. And I'm just picturing Waff, this small child-sized man, sitting in his bedroom, shooting his dart guns out of his Jedi robes. Like, pretending he's in a fight with, like, some big, sexy ninja whose leg is the size of his
Entire
fucking torso.
Body, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna do the whole, like, big butts and stuff thing. What about how he describes the honored matre when Waff's looking at it? He's like, she's old, right? Like, she's got to be like 40, but like she's built like somebody who used to be a gymnast, and her legs are so toned and muscular. And it's like, Frank, settle down.
And then he kills her effortlessly, and then the face dancers kill her entourage. The end. She's dead. But I'm sure they won't get outfoxed again later in the book. They are effortlessly outfoxed by Teg.
I mean, not effortlessly.
He had to deduce there was a guy in the door behind where the Mother Superior came out of. I still don't get what the point of their scene of being captured was.
Yeah.
Why did the Mother Superior and several Reverend Mothers get captured, and then Teg just was like, and then I saved them?
I guess the challenge is, like, with a lot of this, there's it's supposed to be a trilogy aspect. And this is setting up, like, the stakes and the characters and what they can do and, like, who you need to be concerned about. And it's all going to fall apart when his stupid son takes over. And so, like, if there was a really solid third book, I would tell you, hey, they're just setting up, like, that the Reverend Mothers who are, like, in charge of everything and really in control all the time, like, they need Teg's help, and he can help them. Like, that's an important story moment. If it went somewhere. But it goes to Kevin J. Anderson.
The machines win. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an Atreides manifesto, Ben, that gets leaked. It's written by the Bene Gesserit, and the Bene Tlaxu don't realize that, and then they disseminate it. And I don't know what that is still. What is it, Ben?
Run that by me again.
The Atreides Manifesto.
Oh yeah, I do not remember if that goes anywhere. So I guess the Atreides Manifesto. I don't remember if that goes anywhere. I don't remember it very clearly at all, actually. I know it hints that there's some other force out there in the galaxy that understands them. Okay, here's another problem. This is getting into Chapter House Dune, but there's going to be two characters that seem to be the big bads. So, spoilers. The Honored Matres are fleeing back to this galaxy or this collection of planets. They're actually coming back in defeat. They're being chased out of their territory by a threat we do not know what.
It's Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert.
It is. It turns out that it's Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert, but for a while there, it looks like there are two mysterious face dancers that are very powerful and maybe capable of like some actual higher plane of consciousness.
Oh my god!
And those face dancers will turn out to actually be robots in the Kevin J. Anderson, Brian Herbert books. But it seemed like they were rogue face dancers, like the Tleilaxu had done something or come into... Yeah.
Are you serious that it wasn't the robots? I thought it was the robots. Like, that it was being set up as the robots by Frank. Is that not the case?
I was thinking, so I can only speculate. Now, if Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert supposedly have notes from Frank Herbert, right, that say what he was planning to do. They say they used those notes to write their books. I believe them. As much as I do not like the quality of their books, I'm not going to say they're liars. I think they do have notes. I cannot tell what they have changed from Frank Herbert's notes. I do not think there were enough notes to properly guide all the details of the story. They probably got a detailed outline at best and some background writing with like character sketches and main events and histories and stuff like that. In the text Frank Herbert's wrote, the two characters I am talking about seem to be face dancers. Face dancers of a higher order, something the Bene Tleilax has completely lost control over. Face dancers that perhaps have come into contact with another entity. I do think an artificial intelligence was always meant to be the big bad. I think that is... He's been hinting that since God Emperor of Dune, since Children of Dune, that there is some threat to humanity's survival beyond just itself. But in the Brian Herbert, Kevin J. Anderson books, those two creatures are the big bad. Well, one of them is the big bad. The other one's kind of just indifferent. But
okay.
Yeah, it's if that's what Frank Herbert had.
If into Brian's books you go to find answers, only pain will you find.
Basically. I think it's kind of things I discussed this a little bit when we talked about his other book, especially Hunters of Dune. Like, as a writer, your story evolves with the writing. Often, as you're writing it, something you never could have planned just pops into your head and you write it. Characters surprise you. Different events take shape. Something else pops up that you had no idea you were going to write, and it becomes a major focus of the story. That would have happened to Frank Herbert as he wrote this book if he had written it, and those things will be very different from what happened when Brian and Kevin wrote them. Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson are two guys who are very obviously more interested in science fiction films than in science fiction books. That might be something that they would disagree with, but since they describe their writing style as cinematic and they're very clearly trying to describe pictures to me instead of writing a story, I think they want movies. I think they want to make Dune TV shows and movies. I think the only way they know how to do that is to write a book and get it adapted.
Except none of their books seem to get adapted, Ben.
No, because they suck. There's no nice way to say that.
You can
And
kill
unlike-
a worm by just throwing some dynamite in its mouth. And as we know, there's
Jesus,
nothing
I forgot
inside of
about
its
that.
mouth, Ben. And then when it blows up and it dissolves, sand trout don't go out with it. The end.
So that's my thing. That's a great example, Nate, of what I'm talking about, actually. There are points in their stories where they directly contradict something we know Frank Herbert wrote, either from intent or stupidity. Either they thought it should be that way, or they weren't thinking enough to realize that they were contradicting the already written text. And in all the editions they've written ever since, they never bothered to correct it. So I'm going to say they meant to do it. And if they meant to do it, well, I don't really respect their choices.
Okay, so these
I have absolutely no idea how we got on that topic.
the rogue face dancers, Ben. The rogue face dancers. Those don't
Don't know
show
how we
up
got on
yet,
that topic.
right? Well, we're talking about the
No.
big bads, the honored matres, who are fleeing from what seem like
okay.
rogue face dancers.
Honored Matres. Yeah, they're not. Oh, yeah, gotcha. We're back. Are the cat people in this book?
The
The Tabaxi?
no, unless they appear in the last 5 or 6 chapters.
Wait, is Tabaxi D&D? Am I getting confused?
I'm 5 or 6 chapters from the end, Ben, and they have not shown up yet. So I'm pretty sure they do not
cat
show
people. Futar. Oh, God.
up. Oh, I don't
The
like
Tabaxi
the
or
name of
D&D?
that.
No. Okay, so in Japanese, futari means two or a couple.
Okay.
Futanari,
Oh, no.
futanari
Oh,
means
no.
something else.
Oh, no.
I don't think Frank Herbert was in any way aware of that. I think he just stumbled on a couple of syllables again. They hang out with the honored matres, though. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
I don't like where this is going, Ben. Where you? I don't even like.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, well, so we're training Duncan, Ben. We're training him, and we're training him.
Oh, God, we're on like chapter 1.
Yeah, and we're training Duncan. No, we're not. We skip around a lot, okay? We go through the years, Duncan's training, and then kablam, blammo, kapow, explosions and shit. Is there anything that we need to talk about before we get to Duncan being assaulted by a fucking face dancer and him running super fast?
Okay, there is one thing I want to talk about. This is going to be one of those content warning moments. Okay? So, Nate, you're going to have to take the initiative to figure out where they need to skip ahead to. Good fucking luck.
Nope.
I'll try to keep this self-contained. If you don't want to hear that, skip ahead to 1 hour, 43 minutes, 50 seconds. Lucilla
Yeah.
is sent
Yeah,
by the Bene
Ben,
Gesserit.
not even the stiffest robe can hide all that boobage.
That is true.
That is not a complete quote, but close enough.
So Lucilla, her job in the Bene Gesserit is imprinter.
Yeah, that sounds like that
literally
thing that Jacob does to that baby.
Yeah.
Kill me
God.
now. Kill me now.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does sound a lot like that, actually. I guess the deal with an imprinter is she is an expert at making you form an unhealthy attachment to her.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of tools in her kit
First
to do that.
as like a mommy figure, and then later as like a mommy figure. You know
First
what I
as
mean?
a mommy figure, and then later as like a step mommy figure. If you know what I mean.
First as a mother figure, then add a MILF.
Yeah. And added bonus, she looks just like the Lady Jessica.
Yeah.
Because we're never going to move past that, are we? But they know that Duncan had the hots for Lady Jessica, so they're bringing in
And
somebody,
that shit transcends
bringing-
time and space. I hope Duncan gets
Yeah.
a cloned Lady Jessica in Hunters of Dune.
You know what? Duncan, I think eventually, like, the greatest character arc for Duncan is, I think, he's over her now. I think by the time
This
of
Duncan
the
does seem a
promised
lot
third
less
book-
annoying. He's not.
Yeah,
He's not going on and on about just how not gay he is. I swear, bro, I'm not gay.
no, this Duncan is easily like, I actually like him more than Paul.
Oh my god. But do you like him more
but
than
we'll-
hate?
Yes,
Oh my god, Ben. You're blowing my fucking
Yeah.
mind.
but
And they blow his
Lucilla
mind,
is basically
you know what
here.
I'm saying?
They blow a lot of him. So Lucilla is here to groom him and have sex with him.
Yeah.
And she's going to have sex with him as a way of making him unhealthily attached, addicted, perhaps even.
Yeah,
traumatized.
that is
whatever you wanna
not
call
at
it.
all what the honored matres do, Ben. Totally different process.
I don't even think they pretend it's a different process.
Okay.
I think they're like, hey, that's one of the things they got from us.
I learned it by watching you.
So yeah, they do that. They are planning to groom Duncan Idaho. They're planning to abuse him into being entirely dependent on the Bene Gesserit and doing whatever they want. And that is what Lucilla is here to do. I will stop talking about Lucilla's plans now. Just know that it is a part of the book where I think Frank might be going a little too far. I think he needs to reel it in now because it doesn't work, so it wasn't even necessary to the story. It's not even like he was trying to make a point about this or say anything about trauma or trauma bonding or anything like that. It's just something he added for flavor. You could argue, I guess, that he's saying that the Bene Gesserit are evil or inhuman, but then he adds that whole thing about how the Bene Gesserit would never take away love. It's too important. It's too sacred. And so this obviously is not sacred to the Bene Gesserit or to Frank Herbert, I feel like, unfortunately. So, yeah, I disapprove. I disavow. I don't like this part of Frank Herbert. End of problematic portion.
All right, so there's a face dancer, and he's pretending to be Teg, and the other face dancers are attacking with Schwagyu in here. She let him in, Ben. She's been trying to hinder his progress the entire time. And now, the Gola might die, but Duncan's so fast! He runs so fast! And then...
Gotta go fast.
And then Teg shoots it in the fucking chest and it dies. And then they blow up...
Bashar, smash!
They blow up Schwagyu's, like, her room. And they're like, the Talaxu betrayed you. And she's like, I don't believe that they did. Hold on, I'm gonna go check. You remain right here. And they're like, yep, We'll definitely do that. All right, come on, you guys get your weapons, get whatever you have on you. Like, we're fucking out of here. Before she can walk back down that hall, we're getting the fuck out of here. So they do. Ben. They do.
They do.
They GTFO pretty hard.
They use a no chamber.
Yeah. A Harkonnen no chamber.
I guess we should mention the secondary thing they're trying to do, maybe with Duncan, Idaho, which is the no chambers, the no ships. That's added a whole wrinkle to warfare, where
you can't see
there are
them,
these
Ben.
Things, yeah, they're essentially like not even a part of the universe until they interact with it. You can't know they're there. No sensors can touch them, no technological tools, and no prescience. None of the psychic abilities of this universe work on them.
Yeah, that definitely won't be changed later in this book, Ben. Let's do it.
So they're back to their old tricks. They don't want a Kwisatz Haderach. We're not doing that.
No, that would be the doom
Not
of
doing
us.
that again.
It'd be awful.
Yeah. But what if we had a guy who just had a little bit of that good prescience? Like, what if we had a guy who could just see a little? Like, maybe a little.
Yeah, man.
What could
you
go
don't
wrong?
have to keep explaining it to me. I'm already sold. Let's fucking do it.
Wow, you're way easier to convince than the Bene Gesserit cancel. By the way, this is why Schwag Yu is rebelling.
Yeah.
She disagrees with this plan, and she's evil for even disagreeing. Well, she's evil for not following the chain of command, I guess. For not mindlessly following the chain of command in this book about
guess what?
restoring your humanity
Guess
and
what?
sense of self.
I did not want a free thinker, all right? I want a soldier. So, evil. Right there. Evil.
Evil isn't right. It's wrong.
Do the Honored Montres actually get her? Because she leaves a message saying, because of course, like, great. That's not something that's going to be just not great, Frank. That's what they call the Honored Montres. And
I think he's just not good with words, to be honest.
no, he's not. He always gets low scores on fucking word choice because he sucks. I'm sorry, Frank Herbert as a wordsmith sucks. He has interesting ideas. I've come around to liking the Dune series so far, but his word choice is ass. It's garbage.
It's ass. Good one, Nate. His word choice. Let me see if I can find a word for it. Let me dig into my vast store of knowledge. It's ass. Okay.
The punishment fit the crime, just like the Bene Gesserit. Okay.
Oh, Nate. I don't know. I think this is a three-parter. I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe now that we've got all this setup out of the way, maybe the rest of the book will go super
just amazingly.
smooth. But this is such a weird book, even by Dune standards.
It jumps around a lot.
Yeah. Have you gotten to the part where Duncan Idaho like fucks his way to master the universe?
No, that is coming up though. Because the last thing that they did was the Honored Mantra was like, I was just about to fuck him into submission with my, but I was about to just rub all that shit all over him. and then, as you know, Duncan's super.
I love Dune. I really do. You know, I'm a little hard on it, especially reading it now, like, knowing I'm going to have to talk about some stuff. Like, he's just unhinged at this point.
He really is.
That's what I said. I was afraid everybody got off the train at God Emperor of Dune, but you stayed on the train. But then I read Heretics of Dune, and I was like, this is way weirder than I remember. Because, like, I blew through this when I read it the first time. I finished this in, like, 2 days. And now I'm, like, really spending some time with it, and I'm like, this is strange. This is a strange book for a man in his 60s. No, I guess... Yeah, he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
This is a strange book for a man in his 60s to write.
He's got that Hawaii real estate money, okay? He can,
that aloha
he can
spirit.
write whatever he wants.
I don't know, man. Okay. Yeah, I think I don't know what this is gonna be. You know what? I said if we ever do 3 parts again, it's just for us.
This is very
Because I
clearly
don't know
just
if
for
anybody.
us. I think we have to
I don't
wrap
know if
here.
anybody. Yeah, I think we do. I don't know if anybody's getting anything out of this conversation. And if you don't want to listen, understood. I don't know how you made it to this point. Maybe put this at the beginning. If you don't want to listen to this, I get you. I don't know if I want to listen to this.
Well, too bad. You
But,
have
like,
to.
I have to have the conversation, though.
So we'll end
Like,
here.
it has to happen.
With the explosion, with the Bashar and the imprinter and Duncan fleeing into the night, and we'll return next time and talk about that, and we'll also see what happens when the Teoxu and the Bene Gesserit get involved in that priesthood. Spoiler alert, a concealed dart gun is used on the head priest.
If a dart gun is used in the first act, it must be used again in the third act. That's Chekhov's dart gun.
So if you want more of this, we're going to do it anyway. But consider our Patreon, Ben.
I'll tell you what, the talking about Tolkien's really going to have to carry this month.
And
It's going to have to carry.
It's competing with last year's March, Ben, which was Faded, 0 Hour, The Long Rain, Project Hail Mary, and a Judging Books by Their Cover. We got this.
We got this. We'll bring it home.
March of last year is like our weakest month, so.
Okay, you're right. March Madness.
March Madness.
is March Madness, where we go insane. We have come down with March Madness. Neither of us plays basketball. So, patrons, you might still be here. And I would genuinely thank you for that. I would especially thank Spooky Shy with a Y on TikTok. I would thank John Bierce, actual author, if he's still a patron.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we still friends? I have not seen his response to our last episode. I hope he still likes us.
And Isekai Sensei Sama of That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcast. I happen to have the inside scoop that he likes podcasts long, no matter how rambling they may be.
So he better still be here, or else.
I hope he's still here, yep. Jamie.
I was about to say, do you need me to tag in? We're about to do an episode with him.
Yeah. Jamie of the If You Want the Gravy movie review blog. Reviewing everything, not just movies.
And we're going to talk about
Jamie,
Dune the movie.
Yep, he'll be coming on to help we simple book folk parse the extra dimensions of sight and sound.
All right. Bye.